everybody. This is Danny from Deep South Homestead. It's the last of our cool mornings. We're out here in the sugarcane patch. We don't have a lot of weeds in the middle because I can till in the middle, but up on the edges we have Florida parsley and some other evasive weed that the cows won't eat. Now they'll both grow together. They both look a lot alike, but the cows will eat one and they won't eat the other. The chickens will eat one, they won't eat the other. Same thing with the pigs. So as we weed, we separate out because even the weeds on our homestead are feed for the animals. We don't really waste anything. Now what we'll do with the other stuff is we'll come back with the lawnmower and we'll mulch it and blow it back up on the sides because it hasn't went to seeds yet, and it'll actually serve as a good mulch. But anything that the animals will eat, we take that out in separate piles and we feed it to the animals because we don't believe in wasting anything, even the weeds here at Deep South Homestead. And guys, you know, it ain't all about row covers. Now I could put a row cover down in here. I have the row cover, I could put it in here. But it just doesn't work out well for us here because every 3 years sugarcane's got to be replanted. And I may eventually in the future order a row cover wide enough to do from row to row. I don't know. Depends on age, circumstances, health, all that kind of stuff. But sugarcane is a staple here in the Deep South with us. Lots of people raise bees. Bees require lots of maintenance. You got to be constantly working with them. They can swarm and you can lose them. Moths and stuff like that can get in them. You can lose them. Guys, sugarcane, even our forefathers knew this. They had plantations of sugarcane everywhere down here. The South was known for its sugar. Louisiana, Florida, Texas, lots of places still do a lot of sugarcane. And it's a lot less maintenance. We come through here, Wanda and I, we will weed this probably twice a year. That's it. We plant it, we fertilize it, we plow it. It's good for 3 years, you know? I mean, and it's a great sugar source for us. It's a great sweetener source for us. It makes some of the best syrup, some of the best molasses you've ever eaten in your life. So, sugarcane, and we have a playlist where you can look at everything from planting to making syrup. And guys, lots of y'all ask the questions, do you have a video about this or do you have a video about that? Guys, all you have to do is Google Deep South Homestead, whatever it is you want to know about, and we probably have a video about it, and it'll pop up and you can go right to it. So a lot of y'all ask us these questions. There's no need asking the questions. It's just like Google it, and it'll take you right to it. So we got to continue on here. We're going to throw some more over to the cows and do a little bit more weeding, and I'm going to come through here with a lawnmower, and we're going to make this place look beautiful.
Our Candy and Minnie. Candy's almost as big as the other cows, and Minnie is growing. Hey there, Miss Minnie Minnie.
friends. The sun's already bearing down on us pretty hot. It is 8:25 in the morning, and it's time for us to call it off. The sun's just got too hot. We're standing in the shade right now, and we've gotten all the sugar canes all cleaned up now, so we're excited about that. Guys, it doesn't matter if you use ground cover or not. Weeding is a part of gardening. It just goes along with gardening. It's one of those things that you're not going to get away from it. The modern day farmer has opted to use herbicides in order to be able to keep from having to weed. Weeds are not a bad thing in a garden. The Florida pusley is really not a bad thing in the garden. It has one root that runs deep, deep, deep in the ground. Ours will run sometimes a foot deep or deeper, drawing nutrition deep out of the soil coming up. And when the plants are chopped up on the ground, it puts those minerals back into the ground up on the top. And it is a good ground cover. You know, I mean, all the animals love it. So it's not a bad thing. We have to understand that if you get to the weed part, now there's this plant, I don't know what it is. This is the Florida pusley right here. The Florida pusley has a little trumpet-like flower that comes out in the middle of the leaf, making seeds, and we don't mind if Florida pusley goes to seed because it's not a bad thing for us. It makes good feed for the animals. But this other one has little white flowers that comes out on it also, but the animals will not touch this stuff. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's poisonous. I never have even looked, to be honest with you. But we have both of them in the garden here. And we try to get rid of the bad stuff before those seeds mature. That's the whole idea of gardening. It isn't about having a weed-free garden. It's about having the right weeds out of the garden. There are certain weeds that are beneficial to your animals. If you have rabbits, Florida pusley is one of the best things in the world you can have for a rabbit. If you have pigs, Florida pusley is one of the best feeds in the world naturally for pigs. Cows love it. I mean, and guys, that's one reason we raise Dexter cows. Now, we have a video here a while back about Grazon, the herbicide that's used by farmers on their hay fields, that when the animals eat it, it goes through the manure, it ends up into your beds, and it kills your plants, or it makes them have all crooked and twisted up leaves and stuff, makes the food toxic, makes the plant toxic. Guys, that's why we raise Dexters. Dexters will go through a field, and they will pick the weeds out of a field before they actually eat the grass. And it's a win-win for us with Dexter cows. That's why we don't mind hay that has weeds in it that hasn't gone to seed. A responsible farmer will not let his weeds go to seed. When I was a kid growing up, I baled thousands and thousands of loads of hay. We used no Grazon. We used no Remedy. We didn't use any 2,4-D, nothing like that. People were responsible farmers back then. They raised their crops. They bush hogged everything off. They let it come up into grass, and they baled it. We came in. Now, it had a few briars in it. It might have a few weeds. But the deal was we were, as young people, had to go through the fields, take a machete or something, or pull them up, the weeds that were invasive out of fields, like crotalaire. We had to get that out of there. Cedar weeds, we call them, dog fennel. Those things had to come out of fields. Coffee weeds, sickle pods, all these things had to come out of fields, guys. That was just responsible. That's what you did with your teenagers. You put them in the field and you paid them a little bit to work, and then you bale the hay behind it. So, guys, weeds are not a bad thing if you have the right weeds. Now, our sugarcane now is a very staple crop for us. Like I mentioned before, we have a video up about the 6 survival foods for the Deep South, and sugarcane is one of them. We need the sugar here. It's a very it's a very good thing for us to have in our climate and our humidity. Like I said, we don't have to worry with bees. We don't have to worry about getting stung and all this kind of stuff, and it produces way more sweetener than bees ever thought about. And it lasts, it's just like honey, it lasts forever. My dad used to tell me about when he was a kid, they would have syrup cans of sugarcane syrup stacked in the smokehouse. He said, Danny, some of them be there 7, 8, 9 years, to the point where the syrup just rusted through the can. The can's rusted and it just poured out on the ground. He said it would never go bad. You know, he said we left our hams and our bacons and all hanging in the smokehouse all year long, all through the summer, everything down here in the heat. He said if it's cured right, son, you don't have to worry about it. He said you just scrape the mold off of it, wash it off, cut you a piece off, take it in the house, cook it, you know. So sugarcane syrup is a staple in the Deep South for Deep South Homestead. So guys, I've ranted enough about this. We got to get busy. Got a lot more to do today before it gets any hotter than what it is. Praying that God will let a breeze start blowing. If the sugar cane is all cleaned out now, and you see it's already shoulder height to me, which is about 5.5 feet tall. So it hasn't actually started making stalks yet. Probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks, it'll start making stalks, and then by fall, I'm anticipating this stuff being 10 feet tall. You know, and praying we don't get a hurricane in here and just twist it all up, or a bad thunderstorm. I'll probably fertilize it one more time and run through here then between the rows with the tiller and throw all the dirt up to it. And guys, beyond that, nothing else to do but wait till fall, strip it, and make sugar cane. Now, this fall, when it comes time, everybody keeps asking us, when we want sugar cane, we want sugar cane. Sugar cane is a one-time-a-year deal. You buy it in the fall, you plant it in the fall, and it's no other time of the year. It will be in the cards up above. I will leave a link to the other videos in the description down below. There will be links to to sugarcane, things about sugarcane. Guys, one of the things about here at Deep South Homestead, years ago, I purchased a cane mill. Now, it's a 1902 model, I believe. It's been used, and I've had to rebuild it. I've put new bearings in it and everything like that. We use that old horse-drawn mule sugarcane mill. It's a single horse one. It's not the 2-horse one. It's a Chattanooga new model. We squeeze our syrup out with it every year. We have videos showing how we use it and everything. Lots of people fuss at us and goes, oh, you better watch out, that has the old lead bearings in it. You're going to get lead poisoning. Guys, if you could see the inside of the mill and how it's made, that's not going to happen. There is a trough inside that mill. The bearing sits in it and runs in an oil inside that, and the oil and the metal never get into the sugar cane. So you don't have to worry about that. That's all hyped up myth from new age people that's trying to make sure everything now is stainless and, you know, all that. And instead of using a mule at Deep South Homestead, we don't have a mule, we don't have a horse, we don't believe in horses because horses are buckets with holes in the bottom of it. We use a plain old riding lawnmower or a tractor to go round and round and round and round in circles. I mean, hey, that's what I used to do with my kids on the cold mornings. They love to ride the lawnmower. I'd say, here, you can ride around in circles while you squeeze sugar cane. So guys, check out the sugarcane videos, and I think you'll appreciate it. I think you'll appreciate the fact that this is how sugar is really made and where it comes from. Thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.